Spoke last week. I'm from last week. Spoke about the hekesh of the similarities between the Dorim and the Nazirus. The Dorim and the Dirus. And the Dorim and the Nazirus have lots of similarities, as we said. Mitzad Echad, Mitzad Sheni, it's not the same. We spoke about the hekesh of Hushvu, Nedorim, and Nazirus, Legabi Kinuim and Yodos. And both of them, Mitzad Echad, the Gemara in Nazir, the beginning of Nazir, what we saw last week in the Beis Aleph, the Misha says, hey, he's called the Nazir Mitzad Yodos. The Gemara of Beis Aleph, we're going to learn. There's a couple of Nazirus, and the Misha says it's talking about the Nazir Oyer Lefonov, as we can see Matasha today. And because he says in his heart, so we assume that Mao the Teir Beina and Pive Libo Ishavin, Komash Malon. What is the Komash Malon? We don't need Pive Libo Ishavin. We don't need Pive. So we can see Matasha today what means the Komash Malon. But we wanted a proof in the Lashon Rambam. So last week when we finished off, we finished with the Lashon Rambam. The Lashon Rambam is in Hilchos Nazirus, Perek Aleph, Aloha Hei. Lashon Rambam is azoi. Ein oimrim benazirus ad sheyoytiv bisfosov dover shemashmo etzel kol ha'om ke'inyan shebeliboy. Elo, keivan shegomar beliboy. Once the person was gomar beliboy in his heart, he decided that what he wanted. And then vehoyti bisfosov, after he done vehoyti bisfosov, dvorim she'inyonom she'yeh nazir, that's the Lashon Rambam. Afal pi shen hinyonos rechoikois. This is not mamish the Lashon of Nazir. It's Lashon Rochoi. Afal pi she'ei b'mashmois Lashon Nazirus. There's not the mashmoon of the mashmois of the word Lashon Nazirus. Harei ze Nazir. It turns into Nazir. Keitzad the Rambam, for example. Harei she'oyo Nazir oiver lefonov. Ve'omar eheye. So the Lashon eheye is doch gar nicht. Mashmo is not of a Nazir and not anything else. But this is what the Rambam brings as a Keitzad. So you're Nazir over the phone. Ve'omar Eya, Arei is a Nazir. Yodos. So we see very clear for the Yesod that we were trying to prove, we see it from the Rambam, that the words that we need for Nazirus is much less than the words that we need for Nedorim and for other places. Nedorim, we need a word. We need a good word, a gesund devot, right? It's not stam a word. And legabe Nazirus, we need much a stronger word. Over here, so you can tell me over here. The Keren Oiro is a Nazir and a base on the base. The fact of a Rambam, a very strong shaila. The fact of the shaila of the Rambam. The fact of the there's a Sugi and Nedorim. Sugi and Nedorim, the Gimel Omed base, is brought down, and we spoke about last week, the Sugi and Nedorim of Gimel Omed base. The Sugi over there learns the din of Yodos and Nedorim from Hekesh from Nazir. Oy bazoi, the same like in Nazirus, enough the word ehei, and we don't need Piv and Libo Ishavim, so the same thing should be also Legabe Nedorim. And why we say, right, why the Rambam passes, when you go to Hilchos Nedorim, says the Rambam, no, this is a special din, Dafke for Nazirus. Hey, Dafke for Nazirus. If you what we saying is, oh, very good. So what we spoke, and this is what we spoke last week, after we learned the Hekesh, that's what? We still have, the Hekesh doesn't tell me Ganzen. We still have a difference between the Nazirus and the Nedorim. And Nedorim, the Dibur, that is the Yesod, that is the Chalois, that what gives me, that was Meichel. The Dibur is turning it to Neder. Masechet and Nazirus, it's not the Dibur. The Dibur doesn't turn it. Also after the Hekesh, we still need, right, and the Nedorim has to be more of a Dibur. Why? Because the Dibur, that's what gives me the Chalois. I need a Dibur, I need a proper Dibur. And the Nazirus, the Dibur is only as we said, it's only a Tanai, it's only a condition. I need to have a Dibur. Why? The Chalois is why the Chalois? The Chalois is what the Torah gave me. A person said, Areni Nazir, the Torah told you, you said Areni Nazir, you're Meichel, Mimele, now you have all kinds of dinim. But what you gave it, tonight, that's why even a very schwache Dibur. A hey is also going to be good enough. It's also going to be good enough. Even the hey, why? Because in the Nazir, you don't need the Dibur is not the Chalois. The Torah gives you the Chalois. You say Shem Nazir, the Torah gives you the Chalois. The Dorim know that the Dorim is the Dibur, that is the Chalois. The Dibur is the Chalois. Very, very good. We still have a difference in the Dorim to this. There is another in the sugya in the Dorim, we learned also that the husband or the father could be made for nidrei ishtoi and nidrei bitoi. It says over there in the Dorim, it says over there, we learn Friday Gemara that we should learn out Bekesh also for the Nazirus. As if Friday Gemara in the Dorim of Dalador base. Friday Gemara, Lomoli, Hekeisha, Teise, Bamemotzinu, Mina Dorim. Dilmet says the Gemara, no. Why? Gabi Nedorim, who the Meifa Mishum de lo Iste Kitsuse. Avol Gabi Nazirus, the Islo Kitsuse. What means Kitsuse? Because Stam Nazirus, Lamed Yoim, Eimeloi, Komash Malon. So what the Gemara was asking? The Gemara was asking, why do you need a Hekesh? Why do you need a Hekesh Nazirus to Nedorim to be Meifer the daughters and wives to Nedorim? Why do you need it? You can learn it out the divrei hafore. We can learn out the mamotzino, right? Like a binyanav, what we call like a binyanav. And the Gemara answers that what? No, it was avamina that the dinim of hafore is only by Nedorim. Why? Because they don't have kitzuse. There's no limits. There's no limits. That means a person can say a person doesn't neder. The chalois is forever. The chalois is not dafke for a certain time. Right? Masechet and Nazirus, the chalois is the kitzuse. The chalois is only for how long? Only for 30 days. So we shouldn't, maybe there we're not going to say a dino afore. And that's why we need the hekesh to learn that also Nazirus, there is a dino afore. Now let's think about it. Why this difference that the Nazirus is only 30 days? So this should be a reason that it shouldn't be a dino afore. Very good. So what is the connection? Because what we see from the Gemara over here, we see a very interesting idea. We might say we don't need the Hekesh. Amotzinu binyanav, the same like in the Dorim. Av meifer nidrei bitoi, Abal meifer nidrei ishtoi. The same thing also Nazirus. Nazirus and the Dorim is the same thing. So the Gemara no. Because Isle Kitzuse, and the Dorim don't have a limit. Nazirus don't have a limit, so we can't learn a Amotzinu, we can't learn a binyanav. We have to learn it with the Hekesh. Why? Because this has kitzuse, this has no kitzuse. Because the Nazirus is only 30 days, and that is the reason that we shouldn't have a din afore. What's the chat? So the Rishonim, the Mefarish and Nedorim, and the Toises and Nedorim, they explain over there. What was the Havamina? They say the Havamina was because the Nazirus is only a short time. So a long time. It's like kitzuse. So I would say that the husband or the father has to wait. You should wait. Why to be made for straight away? Wait. It's only a short time. It's only 30 days. Right? Could be. And why? Because it could be that we know when the father could be made for. The father could be made for only nidrei inui nefesh. Maybe if it's so short, it's not called inui nefesh. It's not considered as inui nefesh. Huh? Very good question. Very good question. But I'm gonna maybe to your question. But 1 second. You're right. So let me to your question in a minute. But as we said, so that's the Havamina. You're right. The Havamina is because we would think that this is not nefesh. This is not called inu nefesh because it's only a short time. So maybe it could be made for. Oh, that's the same shaila. So you're all asking, as Rabeni asked, as Rav Jalovsky asked, you could do the same thing also by a neder. Oh. So this we find where that Achronim say that because we find a neder that in the chalois neder is no kitzuse, could be. So the Torah was not mechalek between the types of nedorim. The Torah was not mechalek. Once we have the nedorim, the Torah is not mechalek. This, yes, this, no, the Torah is not mechalek. I don't think so. They say b'shem the Rogachover is not brought in Tzofan. I think it's brought down in Mefanech Tzfunas. It's brought down, and they say b'shem the Rogachover Mefanech Tzfunas is Dr. Nazir. He explains the Gemara a little bit different. Bekitzer Advorim, he says Azoi. What's the Agdora of what we said in the Gemara? Nedorim less lekitzuse. What's the pshat? When we said Nedorim less lekitzuse, we're doing a hekesh of Nedorim to Nazirus, the same like a neder. The father could be Mayfair, the daughter the daughter's Nedorim and the Baal can be made for the Nedorim Nidre Ishtoy, the same thing as Zirus also. The Gemara fact, why we learn Lamam Matzir? Says the Gemara, because it's the Kitzur. So what's the Pshat Nedorim less the Kitzur? The Torah says that the Hagdorah of a Neder, what we call a Kitzur, I don't care how much the person, Mitzad the Torah, I don't care how much the Torah decide, right? The Torah didn't care how much the person, how long he done the Neder. Mitzad the Torah, yeah? The Torah doesn't tell you, right? The Torah doesn't tell you what's the Hagdorah for a Neder. The Torah doesn't care how much a person, how long the person will done the Neder. If it's for ever or it's for 10 minutes. Mitzad the Torah, Mitzad the Neder, doesn't matter. Why? Because the Neder is a chalois on who? On the person. What is a Neder? Is it Gavre or Cheftze? Right? It's a chalois Cheftze, but it's on the person. And that's how you understand why a different person, that means the father or the husband, could be Mefer. Right? The chalois on the person, it can be Mefer. But Nazirus says that's a pshat Isle Kitzuse. Nazirus, let's take Isle Kitzuse. What's a pshat? The Torah was mechayev the person to accept the Nazirus dafke for how long? 30 days. If a person wants less than that, no. Why? Because who's meichel this, as we said, the chalois is mina Torah. That was the Torah said. And that's how you understand why there is a avamine, a very strong avamine, why the person, that means the father or the husband, could not be made for the Nazirus of the wife. Why? Because Be'etzem, you're not trying to be mevatel the dibur of your wife. You're not trying to be mevatel the dibur of your daughter. You're trying to be mevatel the chalois, or the surim, let's call it, what the Torah created. And that's the pshat. That's the Rogatchover. So let's take it to there's nothing to do with actually how long. Then, very good, what we said. That's even better. What's the difference between Nedorim and Nazirus? Nedorim is the chalois is the person done the chalois. The neder was done by the person. The dibur, that's the iker. Nazirus is not the dibur, the iker, and that's why it helps. Hey, and that's why all these words can help by Nazirus. Mashenken does not help by Nedorim. Yeah, so the Ekesh comes to tell me, yeah. This is the same, yeah. Biyanav is mom is the same. It's like because it's similar. Biyanav, but Mutzin, we say it's things that are similar. We don't need to come to Hekesh. It's the same thing. The same. Like if you find over here, Mutzin over here, the same thing is there. Over here, we say it's not the same. Okay, so let's be misakim a little bit what we learned. So we learned, right? What is the difference between Nedorim and Nazirus? And we said a time that Nedorim is the person's will, the person's kavanah, right? This goes on the person. Nazirus is chal, different even when against the will of the person. Because the person wanted the Nazirus, as we spoke last week. A person wants the Nazirus only 1 day, 1 hour. It helps him, even against them, right? And we saw this in a few sugis and Masechet Nazir. We saw this. And we went also into the sugi of Nedorim, what we find a very strong hekesh between Nedorim and Nazirus in different places. And we proved on this, that Nedorim, or what we call Bal Yachel and Bal Teachel, was no Nazirus without the hekesh. Why? Because Be'emes and Nazirus, the chalois does not by the person. Who does the chalois? The Torah does the chalois. Mitzat Sheni, without the hekesh, the chalois iso would be lighter or more lenient in the Nazirus than the Nedorim, right? As we find in the Yodris and the name of Kinuyim, as we find. And this we understand as well that's the Neder. The Neder is the chalois, what's based on the words of the person, Masha'inken, and that's why we need that the word should be a proper word. Ahei stamas is not going to help. Masha'inken and Nazirus, the dibur is only a t'nai, it's only a condition, and that's why it's going to help less. Let's take this thing as we spoke about Nedorim and Nazirus, weiter. And this is what we spoke in the Akdome, but this we're going to fit it now into the Gemara what we just spoke. What is the difference between Shavuos and Nedorim? So the Gemara says, Yisori Gavre and Yisori Chefse, right? The Mishnah, let's start the Mishnah. It's a Mishnah Nedorim. Kol Kinuy Nedorim, Nedorim, Becharomim, Ushavuos, Shavuos, Unazirus, Kenazirus. That's the lotion of the Mishnah Nedorim. Fragt of them, the Gemara that based on a base. When Nisne Kinuy Shavuos, Bosa Nedorim. Right? Why we say Kol Kinuy Nedorim, Becharomim, Kecharomim, Ushavuos, Shavuos, Kenazirus. Say straight away Kinuy Shavuos. Straight away after Kinui, kol kinui nedorim kenedorim. Ushvuas kishvuas. Who kommt da rein? Charomim. That's what the Gemara asks. Says the Gemara, I did a Tana nedorim, the mitzal chefzalei. Tana na mecharomim, the mitzal chefzalei. Because first we said charomim, we say chefze. Le'afu kishvuas the koosar nafshei. That means the Gemara, the reason that the Mishnah said the difference between Nedorim to Shavuos, Nedorim, a person asers the chavetz on him, they say like in Charomim, Masechet Shavuos, the person aser himself on the chavetz. Now the Gemara over there doesn't speak about the Nazirus, the fourth part of the Mishnah, because the Mishnah brings Nedorim, Charomim, Shavuos, and Nazirus. What about Nazirus? What about? To which category exactly it belongs? Belongs to the category of Chefze? Does it belong to the category of Gavre? Oh. So we spoke about it, Bekitzo, but now once we know a little bit more the sugyas, let's think about it this way. But let's ask a different shaila. Does the difference, let's think about it this way. Let's think a little bit deeper. Does the difference, what the Gemara does, the difference, the Gemara does a certain difference between the Nedorim and the Shavuos, is only the way that we have what's called Yetziras or Isel. It's only the way where we actually say that the Isel forms the Isel on the Chefze or the Chefze on you. That means a difference in the Lashon. Oh no, maybe there is actually a way, and the essence of it is a big nafkamina. The chalois Isel, between the two categories, there's actually between Nedorim and Shavuos is going to be a big, the chalois is going to be a different. What is the pshat? When the Gemara says, okay, I said Nedorim, I said Charomim, I said Shavuos, I said all kinds of things. What is the difference? So if we go to the Toises ala Sara, and the Dibra Masechet Nedorim on Masechet Nedorim, Toises ala Zoi, vein Toimar. Or EU a hefze. This is like a very, very simple question. What's enough gemina? EU or hefze or hefze or hallelujah. What's in the dorim? Yes, lo yimach says. The leinian ze sheimo yoimer koinom shelo yoichal kiko ze lo yomar klum. V'chein omar gabi shur lehefech. What do you see from Toises? Toises understand in the beginning. You call it Chefze, you call it Gavre. I ask myself on the Chefetz, so the Chefetz is also on me. I say a play of words. This says no. We see it from Toises in the side of the Gemara, we see it Toises. Yes, there's no difference. The emes and the mahus, in the essence of Nedorim and Shavuos, there's no difference. What the Gemara says, legabe the chalois, our tzchal beiso. That means Kabbalah's neder is Kabbalah. You have to say. And the lotion that we yom misyach is the chefze, chefetz ze osur olai, kikar ze osur olai. So I'm actually responding to the chefetz, to the chefze, and that's the nafkamina. But when you mekabel a shvur, you have to actually be misyach to the gavre. That means I'm not going to eat the kikar. I'm not going to have a pool in this chefetz. That means that is more than that. And this tells us that in more than that, if a person will actually say a neder beloshen shvur or shvur beloshen neder, but the Neder and Shavuos not going to be chal. That's what Toises teaches us. As I said, Toises. So what do we see from Toises? There's not really a difference. The difference is in the Lashon, right? There's not really a difference. I ask the Chefetz, or the Chefetz asks me. It's only a difference in the Lashon. The Ran, we see nicht das. In the Ran, and the other Rishonim, yeah, you're right. Now, the Ran brings that's what they didn't even the Shavuos. It's because of the Gavre, why? Oh, so that the Rishonim bring right? They answer this. The Ran. So the Ran says over there in Diva Maschil Aide, the Ran brings in the beginning of the Dorim, the Ran says it brings the Machloikes Rishonim. He brings the Machloikes Rishonim. If the Amirias Neder Beloshen Shavuos, if the person does the Neder Beloshen Shavuos, or the Shavuos Beloshen Neder, what if it's going to help or not? Says the Ran, Lefi the Rashba and many other Rishonim, the Neder or Shavuos is not going to be chal. As we said from Toises. He brings the Ramban. and the neder or the shvua will be chal. Why? Midin yodis. Midin yodis. Oh, what's a pshat? Huh? We don't need people Libra Shavim. I hope to see it today, the Gemara on the base. We're going to see Hashem, the people Libra Shavim or not. This is a big sugya, people Libra Shavim. Hashem, we can start it this week. We're going to go next week. We can go into it. So we have over here the Ramban. What's the pshat in the Ramban? How the Ramban is going to understand, the Ramban, how the Ramban is going to understand what the Gemara is mechalik, right, between the Dor and the Shuas. How the Ramban is going to be mechalik. We saw a chiluk between the Dor and the Shuas, right? Gavre Chefze. The Ramban, the neder of the Shvua is chal din yad. So what's the difference? What's the difference? So there's two possibilities to learn the Ramban. Or one possibility to learn that the Ramban is going to say that also the Taina, that what? There is a difference, but the difference is only in the Lashon. Just what? It's not complete. It's only when a case where the derech klal you say the Lashon on the Dorim and you say the Lashon Shvuas, but derech klal you should say that Lashon. But it still could work with din yad. Still could work with din yad. Another possibility that they understand the Ramban is like that. The Ramban, the difference between Nedorim and Nazirus is not, or Nedorim and Shvuah, is not just in the words. At the emes, the Isur is different. That means Isurei Neder are the Isurim that's chal on the Chefze. That means the Chefze itself is now becomes also on the person. Shvuas, no, the Chalois is only on the Gavre. The person is not allowed to. The Chayfetz, nothing changed in the Chayfetz. The Chayfetz is perfect. The person changed. This is very good at what we find in the Mishnah. Where's the Mishnah? The Mishnah says, and this is what Moshe just mentioned before, the Mishnah says, Choymer, Benedorim B'Shvuos, Keitzat. What's more severe in the Dorim B'Shvuos, says the Mishnah, or Keitzat, says the Mishnah, Omar, Koinom Suka Shani Oise, that's a Lashon Neder, Lulev Shani Noitel, Tfilin Shani Miniach, Benedorim Osu, B'Shvuos, Muto, She'ein Nishboin, La'avor Ala Mitzvahs. So the Mishnah, that's the Lashon Mishnah. The Mishnah tells us over here that what? Nedorim or chal also when it's against the Kiyum Mitzvah. Against it being on the Sukkah, against shaking the lulav, it's still going to work. Shavuos is not going to be chal. Shavuos, no, he says, I'm not going to sit in the Sukkah. Yeah. Lulav shani noita, I'm not taking any lulav. Shavuos, what is the Shavuos? It's not chal in this case. The Gemara explains why. The Gemara has a big arichas. Why yes? Why not? Why not? Lemaskona says the Gemara finally. Omar Rove, Ho de Omar Yeshiva Sukkah Olai, Ho de Omar Shvue Shaloi Eisha V'Sukkah. What's the pshat? After a big discussion with the Gemara come to finalize what's the difference. Omar Rove, Ho de Omar Yeshiva Sukkah Olai, Ho de Omar Shvue Shaloi Eisha V'Sukkah. What's the difference? So the Rishonim explain as like. In the Dorim, because they're chal only what? On the Hefze. Let's go. Hefze, Sukkah, yeah? What we're talking about, the Hefze is the Sukkah. The Sukkah is the Hefze. There's no contradiction between the Chalois HaNeder, what is the Hefze, and the Mitzvah, that's on the person. Who has the Mitzvah? I have the Mitzvah. You have the Mitzvah, right? Each and one of us have the Mitzvah to send in the Sukkah. The Hefze, what I asked of the Neder, I asked of the Hefze. So there's no contradiction between like head to head, yeah, between the neder and the mitzvah, because the mitzvah is chal on the person. The neder is the chefetz to the sukkah, and that's why there's no problem, what stops the neder to be chal. Let's talk about the shvuah. Hey, the chalois is on the shvuah is on who? On the gavre, on the person. So there is straight away when I'm saying this type of shvuah, there is straight away it's contradicting each other. They are fighting the chaloi shvuah and the mitzvah. The mitzvah is chal on the person. The chaloi shvuah is on the person, and that's why the shvuah is not going to be chal. What do we see from over here? That the difference was between the shvuah to the dorim is not only to the lotion of the isur, as Moshe said before. Is like Toys understood. This is what? This is the essence of the isur, the mahusa isur. There's a difference between them. Oh, what Toisus? You have to understand Toisus. Yes, okay. Yeah, so for sure. So yeah. Okay, that's positive. Let's go. Let's go back a second because we are Masechet Nazir. We're trying to figure out what is Nazirus, right? Very nice. Not sure maybe you're going to learn one day in Nadorim. But now we're trying to figure out what is Nazirus. All of this is to figure out what is the Nazirus. So let's go back to Nazirus. Let's see what Nazirus, what category the Nazirus belongs to. Belongs to Shavuos or it belongs to the Nadorim? Where does it belong to? After we got the ideas, Nadorim, Shavuos, let's see what it belongs to, this category. So we have two different ways to look at it. The Lashon of Kabbalah Neder or the Shvuah, and the Chalois of the Neder or the Shvuah. Two different things. The Gemara categorizes, right? Nedorim, Charomim is a Yisur Heftzeh. What we just said. Nedorim, Charomim is a Yisur Heftzeh. Shvuah is Yisur Gavre. Lichoyre. Because the Lashon of the Gemara, the Lashon actually of the Gemara is, why when you say Kol Kinei Nedorim, Nedorim? Charomim, Charomim. Why you say called Kinui Nedorim Nedorim Charoim? Why did you say called Kinui Nedorim Nedorim? The Gemara called Kinui Nedorim Nedorim, and then straight away I bought also Yisur Heftzeh of Charoim. So if we bought the Zeus Kinezirus after Shavuos Kishvuos, what the pshat? So Yisur like a Shvuah. So Yisur like the Gavre. No, from this understanding of the Gemara, because Nazirus is mentioned in the Mishnah after Shavuos, and the same like the Mishnah says that Charomim, the Mishnah says that Charomim is mentioned after Nedorim because it's the same category of Nedorim. So if the Mishnah mentions Nazirus after Shavuos, it's the same category of Shavuos. That means Yisur Gavra. It's like money Rishonim. Raom is more than the Shittum Kubetzes means the Raom. The Ritva is more than the Shittum Kubetzes that they actually bring down that the Nazir is doing with the Shvuah. Why? Because it's Yisur Gavra. The Rosh in Nedorim, over here in Nedorim, brings also the Choyre says also the same thing. Why? Because the Rosh says over here, it says Venozir, and the Mamachila Afuka in Nedorim, Venozir, Afal Pi Shenesa Beyain, Eino Ines Sarayain Olo. Elo begufo itolui hanezirus. Begufo itolui hanezirus. Shoimer harei ni nazir. Umimele, that's the Lashon of the Rosh. Umimele nesa beyayin v'tiklach azu v'tumah. What means the Rosh? Pashtus. Pashtus the Rosh means to say that Nazirus is a Yisur Gavre. Right? What the Rosh says? Begufo itolui hanezirus. This is like a Shvuah. Oh. 1 second. If that is Taka the Pshat in the Rosh, we don't understand what's the Pshat Umimele. The Rosh says, Umimele Chalomim, all of the dealing. What's Umimele? What? He says, Begufo Itolu Nezirus. He doesn't say Begufo Nesa Beyayin. What's the Pshat in the Rosh? Elamai. The Rosh doesn't mean to say that the Yisur Nezirus is a Yisur Gavre. Just what? To tell us that when a person is Mekabel himself in Nezirus, he is now like a Kohen. Shem Kahuna. We're going to have to speak about this. Kahuna and Nazir. So maybe we're going to leave it for maybe a different shiur. About the difference between a Kahuna and a Nazir. About when a person is Mekabel Hashem Nazir, he has now Hashem Nazir. Now the Shem Nazir has lots of Isurim that is coming out from this new status, what he's called Nazir. It's a new status. He's called a Nazir. And this is what he says over here. Tuluya begufo yishalom. And mimele, this is a toitzoi, this is outcoming. Mimele is chalalim the yisurim. Lefidam. Between Nedorim, the Shavuos, between Heftzeh and Gavre, we have the Nazirus somewhere beyond the Shavuos. It's beyond the Shavuos. When a person makes a Shavuot, what happens? So he himself, like the way it is, this what? He has on him Epsanaya Yisur, right? On the person. The person has Anaya Yisur. Nazirus, the person himself is changing. The Yisurim is only outcoming of actually the change what the person got. But the person himself is changing. It's not that Yisur was leaked off the mensch yet. Andere mensch. Let's read this. We can understand also the Seder of the Mishnah. Nedorim, Charomim, Shuas, Nazirus. The Mishnah starts the Isur between Isur Hefze, that there's no any difference in the Gavre, right? As we said, that is what we call a Neder. Now we have an Isur that's on the Gavre without any difference in the Hefze, that's a Shvuah. And then we have an Isur that is actually the Hefze, that means that the person is changing. What is that? And that is Nazirus. So it can fit also in the lotion of the Mishnah. Kol kinin is the Dorim Kinadorim, Charomim Kecharomim, and then we have also Nazirus. The Nazirus is a difference between the Nazirus itself is going to change. Why? Why did it hekesh between the? So these words of the Rosh, what we explain in the Rosh, steht mefurish in the Marit. The Marit in Chelek Aleph, Simen Nun Gimel. Says the Marit. V'chein nire li biruron shel dvorim. V'shloishon chilukei isurim. About this. Neder chal ala chayfetz ve'ein shum shaychus ala odom anoider. Shvuah hu isur gavre hu de osar nafshei min hachefze. Avolein gufay shel odom nitfas bo. That's what says the Marit. Venozir hu atzmo nitfas beneder. Veniskadesh gufoy dumye the kohen. We see from the Mari that there is a darge between the different isurim, right? A person could answer only the chefse, could answer on him, bring on him storim, and that is the Seder. Also, he brings down the things first, the dorim, then Shavuos, and then the Zim, the Seder of the Mishnah. Now, yeah, the person is like a kohen, exactly, like a kohen. A kohen is changing now. What a kohen becomes? A nayazach. He's a kohen. Till now he was a Yisrael, now he's a kohen. Till now he was a regular Yisrael, now he's a Nazir. A nayazach. Because the person himself.
Otherwise, we should. Otherwise, we should. Comes by itself.
Oh, very good. So now, Lefi all the Yisrael that we've spoken on now, we can understand this idea of Nazirus. What's a classic Kabbalah Nazirus? What is the classic Kabbalah Nazirus? Classic Kabbalah Nazirus, a person says, Areini Nazir. What's Areini Nazir? It's a Lashon Isur? What is it? Lashon Isur? Definitely not Legabi the Hefte. He's not astering. He says, Areini also Betar, or Areini also Meisim, or Areini also Beyain, right? And also not Klapi the Nazir himself. He says, Areini Nazir. What's the pshat of the Nazir? And that's a classic Nazirus, right? Areini Nazir. What the pshat is, the Nazirus is exactly, as the Marit says, the Nazirus is giving a chalois on the person. That's why the person now changes to be like a Kohen. I mean, the Gavra is changing. He's doing himself into a Nazir. And because now he's a Nazir, the status of a Nazir changes him and all kinds of dealing what he has to do. Where do we see this idea? This idea also we see, and what we wanted to speak last week about, and what the case. It's a shvuah, so let me tell you why when the person says aho, ahei, aho, ahei, and we see how it's pulled down with the Gemara with the Nikud. It's Kabbalah Nazirus, right? The Kabbalah Nazirus. The Mishnah Bayos, the Nazir, the Mishnah Nazir brings down, right? Aho, if someone says aho, it's considered as a Nazirus. It's considered as a Nazirus. Why? Yad. Now the Gemara on the base. The Gemara on the base explains this Amira of aho helps. Why? For Kabbalah Nazirus. Why? Because when the person says aho, as we can see in a few minutes, we can see. Right? Nazir oiver lefono. And that's why when the person comes and says aho, we said aho komoyo, I want to be like him. But the Rishonim Medayek from the Sugya that this fees some shittus of a Moiroim, you can be Mekabel Nazirus also in the Lashon of aho, also when there's no Nazir oiver lefono. Shas Kabbalah Nazirus. How does it work? And what's the pshat in the Lashon aho? How can you see from the Ahor that it means Nazirus? It could be, it means a person like Gabi Kabbalah Steinis, as we see in the Gemara, yeah? More fact. Maybe Ahor means Kabbalah Steinis. Why this it means Nazirus? So the Rosh Diba Maschi Leime Kasova Yodaim Sheim Chicho Yislo Yavi Yodaim. This is the Rosh by us in Nazir. The Rosh explains. I'm just going to read a part of the Rosh, what's going to get to our Yesod. The Rosh explains as well. The Rosh says, the Tvei Mashma'use Loshen Nazirus Miloshen Tainis. The whole Mashma, the Kol Agufei Leshanoisoi Leshem Chodosh. Leshanoisoi Leshem Chodosh. I think the Rosh. Leshanoisoi Leshem Chodosh. והיינו שיהיה נקרא נוסר, אבל היש ותאיס אין שמו משתנה. What do we see from the Rosh? We see from the word of the Rosh that the reason that the person says oh, it means dafke when the Kabbalah Nazir, that means aho. What means aho? The person wants to change the person. He wants to change the person himself. He wants to change his status. And as a person changes status, that happens only in Nazirus. In Tainis, a person doesn't change his status. Even for sure, it's Chalon the Gavre, and on the Chefze, Tainis is Chalon who? On the Gavre. I'm not going to eat, right? Chalon the Gavre. Not on the Chefze. But it's an Issur that's on the person, but it doesn't turn him into a different person. Turn him into a different person? No. A person that has to do Tainis. So there's an Issur on the person, it doesn't turn the person. As they state in the Ritva in our Sugya also, and the Sugya is not this over here, but it's the Sugya, we have Sugya Makbilois in the Shas. The Sugya over here is very similar Sugya we have in Kiddushin, in the Feyam base. And over there it says Aho, says the Ritva, Mashma, what means Aho? Mashma dovo shebegufoi, de'ainu ahei Nazir. V'lo mistabel lemeimar ahei Nazir ahei Tainis. Why? Shein atzmoi Tainis. Elo shehu betainis. That means the Ritva was saying the same idea. So Kumta is an amazing thing that what Aho, Samazai, Aho, what means Aho? Without any connection. Misyaches from all of the din of the Torah, Stam Aho, is Misyaches dafke to Nazirus. Why? Because when a person says Aho, I want to be something else. I don't want to have a nice little Issur of Aho, Betainis, Aho. I want to change myself. What a person can change himself? One thing. A person cannot change himself to be a Kohen suddenly. A person, the only thing that a person can change himself is to be a Nazir. So the Lashon of Aho, even without no Nazir walking around, and a mile away, there's no Nazir. But when a person says Aho, because the Avon of Nazir, so this is a very minor dikazach, just a minor dikazach over here. What is the definition of a Nazir? We find from the Gemara itself. And because the definition of a Nazir changes the person, as the Mahit says, like a Kohen, we could understand how beautiful the Ritva in Kiddush in the Feyam base. The Rosh Bayos in the face of the base, by Nazir. That Aho, it means a person wants to change the person. The only thing, what we find that a person can change the person, is by Nazirus. We're the only one word. Yes, exactly. Oh.
It's a biggest check.
Exactly. Oh, that's it. You could say Aho Betainis, and it doesn't mean Aho Betainis. Why not Aho Betainis, for example, as the Gemara wants to say, because a person doesn't change himself when he's a Tainis. It's a Yisur Gavre, he's gerecht, it's a Yisur Gavre, that the Gavre can essen. A person can't eat now. But Aho itself, that's another thing. Fits in beautiful with the Gemara. With the Rosh, the way the Rosh looks, the Gemara. Yeah, we're gonna get, yeah. We see the Gemara. But Lefi the Rosh, it fits in very nice, the Geder of a Nazir. So we got the Geder of the Nazir, yeah. Yeah, he's not changing himself. Yeah, but he's not changing himself. He's not be'etzim a cholol. Yeah, it's a cholol only as long as he's married to her. Machloikis, yeah, what's the thing? Machloikis also. Oh, we're gonna go back to Masechet. So I'm gonna get back. You asked me, and I'm gonna get back to Masechet. The next thing before we start the Gemara, we're gonna speak about the Masechet. What you asked me in the middle of the weekend, I'm gonna go back to it, but there's no really cash out of this. There you go. Now, once we see there's a different category between Nazirus, we could also understand the difference between Neder and Shavuot, as we said before. The Gemara said that what Nedorim is Chal even keneged the mitzvahs. Ramosha mentioned the Mishnah Daf Tezvav and Nedorim, right? Even negative mitzvahs. Shavuot is not chal neged the mitzvah. What about Nazirus? The Gemara, Daf Gimel with base, Bayos, the Gemara says, we learn out from the Apostle, Biyain v'sheicho yazir, le'eser yein mitzvah, ke'yein horeshus. That means the Nazirus is chal also connected the mitzvah. What do we understand from this? The Nazirus is chal also connected the mitzvah. What about Kiddush? What about all of these things? So you can see, Masechet, it's a nice sugi when you see it. But what's the pshat? So some want to prove from over here. The Mari Ben Lev is brought down in the Chuvas Marit. He wants to prove from over here that the Nazirus is the Yisra Chefze. It's the same like Nedorim. Like a Neder is chal connected the mitzvah. We just were explaining before, very beautiful, as Moshe said. Neder is chal connected the mitzvah. Shvur cannot be chal against the mitzvah, right? As we said. Nazirus is chal connected the mitzvah or not? When we come to categorize Nazirus, Neder or Shvur, let's see. Neder is chal connected the mitzvah. Shvur is not chal connected the mitzvah. What about Nazirus? Is chal connected the mitzvah? Yes. The Gemara of Gilad Beis, the Gemara says, Miyain l'sheicho yazir, le'eser yein mitzvah ke'yein rashus, like yain rashus. So Lechoyer Mari Belev says, it's more than the Marit over there, that there's a Yisrael Chefze, because they say like Nedorim. Nedorim is chal connected the Dvar mitzvah. Also the Nazir is chal connected the Dvar mitzvah. Says the Marit, no. Faked Rabbe. Ve'ez muchad that the Nazir is a Yisrael Gavre like a Shvur. Why? Oh, it's not chal connected the mitzvah. Because the Gemara needs a special pasuk. What the Gemara needs? The Gemara needs a special pasuk to what the teacher that what? Afal piken miyayin sheikho yazir the teacher that what it's chal connected the mitzvah. So straight away the Mari in the beginning of the things the Mari left straight away he says it. Mega hovega, that means we need to understand, right? If the Nazirus is a Yisra Chefze, so why do we need a special pasuk to be meichel and mitzvah? Now, if Nazirus is a Yisra Gavre, why Yisra Nazirus is different than any Yisra Gavre? Why the pasuk should change the din? So why? But if we understand that, what is it? It's a different type of Yisra Gavre. What type of Yisra Gavre is it? That without the pasuk, I would think that Nazirus, because it's a chalois on the Gavre, I would say the din is like a shvur, and it cannot be chal against the mitzvah. The pasuk has to teach us something else. The pasuk has to teach us that the Nazirus is different than a shvur. It's chal also connected the mitzvah, but not because it's chal on the chefze, like a neder. Only because it's chal on the Gavre, be'etzem, on the person. That's chal. And that's why it's not, right, against the limudim. We said, why by a Nazir, why by a shvur, it's not going to be chal the mitzvah? Because it's contradicting each other. The person is mechuyev to say this, okay? And the person put on himself Esau. He's not doing he's not contradicting each other. I'm in a different matzah that I don't need now to drink wine of Kiddush. It's different. The person now changed, right? Till now we said that the person didn't change. The person, he didn't change. The person. Over here we say, no, the person himself, the person changed. It's not going to be thing. Okay. So again, let's be misakim. So we spoke about two things over here. We spoke about big yesod, right? Two different things we spoke. First of all, we said that the Yisurim of a Nazir and different than the Yisurim of a Neder is not chalois of a person. Just what? The chalois what the Torah gave. A Neder, the person is making on himself all kinds of Yisurim, right? Neder is a person, and that's why you need a strong dibur. You need a very strong dibur. Kinuim, yodos, yes, but the dibur has to be a good dibur. Nedorim, you don't need a strong dibur. Even a ho is going to be good enough. And the second part we explained that the Yisurim Nazir is an outcoming of the change of a person be'emes, and this person who changed now, like a kohen, that it creates the Yisurim. Yeah, okay. Some want to say that this is connected to each other, these two things, because a neder is more of a dibur, and because a nazir is the Torah's meichel, and that's why it changes the person. That means the person, right? The person is limited, right? So he could do changes in the Metzias, but again, he could change something for a limited time, right? He could say that Masechet in the Torah, me'al hazman, me'al hateva. So the Torah could change a person be'emes, right? And the Torah could say the person is not limited anymore. It's like Kitzusa, less like Kitzusa, right? As there's the pasuk in Amos, the pasuk in Amos. And the Nevuah says, "Ve'oki mi bneichem lenevim, umi bachureichem lenazirim." Remember the pasuk, yeah? Pasuk in Amos. What's the pshat in the pasuk? What's the pshat in the pasuk? In the capital base of pasuk Yud Aleph. What's the pshat in the pasuk over there? There's bneichem lenazir. So this is like the Mefarshim always speak about what's the connection between a novi to a nazir. Ve'oki mi bneichem lenevim, umi bachureichem lenazirim. What's the connection between a novi to a nazir? A tafkid of a nazir, a tafkid of a novi, and what's the pshat in it? Elamai. Some want to say that some folks want to say to be zoichet the nevuah, the novi has to do all kinds of achonis, right? A whole thing of it tells us a whole ladder to climb up in the ladder to get to a novi, right? But in the end of all of the achonis, what we do, a person cannot be meichel on himself in nevuah. The nevuah has to come, right? Thing is the mefarshim say over there ve'okim. What ve'okim? It's kind of, as they say, the Pa'ula Eloikis, as the Rambam says at the Moira, yeah? It's a Pa'ula Eloikis. It doesn't depend on the person. This is something about it. The same thing, the Nevuah, right, is a difference, and the Madregas Adam, the person changes. Now he's a Novi. The Madregas Adam, he changes. The Nazirus is also Pa'ula that comes from Hashem. And a change, another person. Person cannot be Meichel on himself and Nazir. He can prepare himself by staying at home, by saying all kinds of things. But the chalois, as we said, it comes from the Torah, it comes not from the person. And as we said, also in the Nazirus, sure, the person has to do all kinds of achones, as he says, and to do. But the same thing, also a person also changes himself to be a different thing. Okay, that was as we said, to explain the differences and the connections between the Dorim and the Nazirus. What we had the base Omid Aleph. That was belonged to last week. Let's be mashlim just the shir from last week, where the shaila what Arav Jalowski asked, what we wanted to focus in, what the Gemara says. Hareini mesalsel, hareini mechalkel, right? Hareini mesalsel, hareini mechalkel, harei olai leshaleach pera. So what we said, harei ze nazir, right? That's what we said in the Mishnah. Right? The lesson of the Mishnah, hareini mesalsel, hareini mechalkel, harei olai leshaleach pera, harei ze nazir. So Toisves, and Dima Maskil Hareini, if you look at Toisves says, Hareini Mesalsel, Hareini Mechalkel. Toisves, Hane Lav Yodois Nazirus Nino. What mitzad Yodois? This what is it? Minkei Lesnel, hey, Bane Yodois, Elo Kevan, the Gomar, Diburoi, Elo Shaloi Pirish Leedia Nazirus, Vanan Hud Mefarshin and Diburei. Masha, the Nazirus Boloiva, Kiyomar Ade Leshoyos, Tofis, Vesare, Kilefars, Gomar. Let me just say. Toisves said that these Shoyos are not Yodois Nazirus. Because if they would have been Yodois, the Tana should have come and say it in the beginning of the Mishnah, together with all of the cases of Yodois. This is an Ikar Loshen. Why? Gomar Diboy. He finished his words. Just what? Because he didn't explain his words very foolish on the Zirus. He didn't say Nazir. He said Nesaz and Nazaroi. So he explained his word that he said this is the Shoinus, and he also grabbed his hand, as you can see in the Gemara. Yeah, come on. This is not a yad. This is Tiboy. Oh. So let's explain it. Let's explain it. So you're right, and let's explain these words. What you're right with your taina lefi the bris kavod. The Chidush agrees over here. He brings that we find in the Rambam. We find the klal and dina yodos. We find also these lashonas. Hareini mesalsel, hareini mechalkel, hareini leshalech pera. The Rambam brings it as Yodos. As everybody brings that this is Yodos. This is Yodos. As everybody in the Rambam says the Britzkerov. Oibazoi. This is Yodos, and he brings that also the Meiri. The Meiri also says that these Lashonos they are Yodos. Now, what's the reason? Why the reason? Now, if it's Yodos, then we're gonna have the time of Toisves. If it's Yodos, why the Tana didn't bring it in the ratio of the Mishnah when he explains all the Lashonos of Yodos? Says the Britzkerov, you know why? The Meiri when he says that because these Lashonos are, he says, kroivim le'inyan nazirus yoisel. Because it's not mamish yad. It's something in between. What's the pshat? Huh? Small chidush. So the Britzkerov explains as well. And this is a yesod in Yodos. The Britzkerov looked as well. There was a machlokes in the Bechlal and the Inyan of Yodos. There's a machlokes in the Inyan of Yodos. Toys understood that Yodos is when he didn't finish his dibur. When a person does not finish his dibur, lo yigomar diburoi, that's the thing. Now, Areini Mesalsel, he finished his dibur. He finished the dibur? Yeah, Areini Mesalsel. That's a complete dibur. Maybe it's not so clear what he means, but it's a dibur, yeah, it's a dibur. But the Rambam understood that the Yodos are not, the Yodos are me'ikar loshen nazirus. Just what? The Yodos is a loshen she'eino mefurashes. That means it's not explained properly. It's not explained properly. So we have a machloikis, the Briskov explained, we have a machloikis with the Rambam. And the Torah says, what is Yodos? What is Yodos? Is Yodos, again, is Yodos, the Torah says Yodos is loy gomar diburoi. Areini Mesalsel, it's gomar diburoi. The Rambam understands Yodos is when he didn't explain his word, kedei hatzorech. Dvorim she'eino mefurashim kedei hatzorech. And he brings the raya from the Rambam. The Rambam says in Perek Aleph Halacha Hey, and this we read before in this Rambam, in the Lashon HaRambam, what the Rambam says, Ein oimrim, right? What the Lashon HaRambam? Ein oimrim benazirus ad sheyoytzi bisfosov. Dover shemashmoy etzel kol oom keinyan shebelvavoi. Elo, keivan shegomar beliboy ve'oytzi bisfosov. What's the person even oytzi bisfosov? And what he means, she'inyanon she'yeh Nazir. Right? He means something there. Aval bishen in yonos rechoikois. Aval bishen b'mashmo usan loshen nazirus. Harei hu nazir. Yeah, this is the Rambam what we also read before. What do we see from this loshen Rambam? Well, we understand says the Briskov, we understand the Rambam. Also, Areini Mesalsel, even if it's gomar diburoi, but it's not in yoni mefurashim, and this is also within the others. Oh. The Mr. Rov, you're going to tell me, Bazoi, the Rambam, it should help Kinui, within the others. Every Kinui should help me within the others. What is a Kinui? Kinui is Dovo, She'eino Mefurash. Nozik, Pozia. Diburim, right, as we said, Dibu She'eino Mefurash, so the Rambam, every Kinui should help me within the others. He says, no, why you can't say this? Because the Torah is very clear. What is the others? Lo yigomar diburoi. The Kinu is gomar diburoi, which is gomar diburoi, but lost in a very funny way. The Rambam Yodos is gomar diburoi, but it's not misparash enough. He didn't explain it enough. It's gomar nazirus, as we said. It's not a yad, and it's not a kinui. No, it's something else. We can see in the base. No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And the Mishnah brings it differently. Areini Kazeh, Areini Mesalsel, Areini Mechakel, Areini Alei Shalech Pera, Areini Nazir. No, it doesn't. Because Mesalsel can mean different things when you see in the Gemara. Mesalsel can mean different things. No, it means not. Yeah. And that's what we say. This is a kidui and yad. And why? Because without, so we're going back now to the Shalat of the Briskov. Every kidui should be mitzad yodos if it's the Rambam. He says, no, why? Because if not the chidush of kinuim, I would say that the kinuim are only, right, are not loshen nazirus. And I would say that it wouldn't be bechlal a nazirus. It would be bechlal a nazirus. And that's why we have to know kinuim. There are kinuim of nazirus. They're not clear enough, I have to come to yodos. But without, if I wouldn't say kinuim bechlal, I wouldn't know bechlal it means a nazirus bechlal. I wouldn't know bechlal. So Kubdo that's the Machoik is the Rambam in the Rambam with the Toyses about what is Yodos. Let's see the Gemara. Ahmed Beis, the two dots. Ahoimer Aho Arei Ze Nazir. Words of the Gemara. Ahoimer Aho Arei Ze Nazir. Why the Gemara? When the person says Aho, there's no choche. Not clear what he means, right? What he means when he says Aho. He means in the Nazirus. Why? Dilme, frag the Gemara, Dilme, Aho, betainis ko amar. And I bazoi, he shouldn't be a Nazir, because this is not a Yad Moichiach. Not a Yad Moichiach, it's not Aho. It's not Moichiach that he wants to be a Nazir. It's a Yad. A Yad Moichiach, it's not Moichiach. Omar Shmuel, Kigoy She'oyo Nazir Oiver Lefono. Let's talk about Nazir Oiver Lefono. What means oizer lefanov? So the Briskerov fragt, oiber zoi, fragt the Briskerov a moire dike shaila. Oiber zoi, why someone says ahor nozik? Ahor nozik. So the Mishnah needs a din of kinuim. When he says ahor nozik, it's not less than someone says ahor by itself. When a person says ahor, only ahor, and yeah, but he says ahor and nozik oiver lefanov, we say it else within yad. So he says ahor nozik, for sure it should help. Oh, very good. So that's what he's saying. The Briskerov says that when a person says a nozik after the word ahor, so when he said ahor, we didn't know or that it means ahor nozir, and that's why when he says nozik, so maybe he means something else, and that's why it's not going to help over here the nazirus. Nozik is where's the nazir. If he was saying ahor nozir, very good. But when he says ahor, no. When there's a nazir passing, it's first definitely going to be okay, even with the ahor. You're asking why ahor nozik is not going to work without the nazir passing. It's better than the nazir passing. But it's no choche that it means ahor nazir. Without the din of kinuim, without the ahor nazir, it's no choche. No, it's no nazir passing. We're not talking about the nazir passing. And that's why we need that. Okay. Don't think about lame. What means the lame over here? So we're just going to mention Toises. Yeah, I'm sure we all prepared the Gemara Tois in the Rosh. Yeah, Gemara Tois in the Rosh. The Omed. Yeah, we're just going over the Gemara very quickly. Lame says the Toises over here explain that over here lame means it's not like in the old Shas. The old Shas, what means lame? Maybe, right? Over here it doesn't mean like in the old Shas, because in the end actually we don't say so. Right? The Fida Maskona Shmuel says that Yodai Shem Yechicho is Ave Yodai. It's Ave Yodai. That's what we're going to see. But some Achronim say, some Eintigers, they say that with the child of the Gemara, it's not the child of the Gemara. Shmuel himself is asking it. As we find many, they're being right, so we find many places. Because if not, what the Gemara is asking, lame because of Shmuel, the Makshis affect the Zelbezach of himself. And maybe what he's asking over here. What he's asking. So, okay. Says the Gemara, lame, Kosova, Shmuel, Yodaim, Sheina Mechichois, right? Yodaim that's not bevar the kavona of the person. Lo Yave Yodaim, to help when he didn't say the whole thing. Why? Because if they are Yodaim, so you didn't need over there to say also the word ahor is not the Yad Mechiach, and Afal Pikem, Yad Shein Mechiach. It works if you're telling me Yad Shein Mechiach. So we see that we anointed the Nazirus more than tiny, so you should have been a Nazir. And as we spoke before, and the reason why the Lashon Ahor is mashma should be a Nazir more than tiny. So let's say Toysas, what Toysas says, because Ahor is mashma should be chal lealter straight away, and Nazirus is going to be chal lealter straight away, right? Afilu ochal v'shoso yai kol hayoyim. He could be a Nazir, as you said. Masher, what? Kabbalah Steinis, if he ate today, he can't be misane, right? Till when? Till the next day. That's the Toises. We explained different Rishonim before that Ahor is a mahus of a person changing, and that's why we said, right? The Ritvo in Kiddushin and Afei, and the Rosh over here we said, but Toises, let's learn now Pshat in the Gemara. Pshat in the Gemara, Toises says, because Ahor Stamaz, it means I want to become straight away. The Tosh have to say so. Why? Because in the whole need of Yodayim Sheim Mechichos, and the Lashon Pashtus is the Lashon Pashwan Nazirus. Just what? It's no Moichiach that's Nazirus. But if it's no Yad Min Nazirus Bechlal, if it's no Moichiach Nazirus Bechlal, for sure it's not going to help at all. Yeah, that's catch the elm a little bit the Nazirus. And for the Gemara Amre, in Vadai. When the Nazir is over there's no stomach in his words. Maybe that means the Nazir. That means Shmuel actually says Yodayim Shemechichois loy have Yodayim, and he says that, and that's why he's not a Nazir only when the Nazir is over because then it's Yodayim Shemechichois. Because we can't understand that the Kavon means right somewhere else when the Nazir. Avol ain't Hanazir over. So what do we say? Dilme Ahevetanis Kama. That means Yodai Shemechichois says, and that's why he's not a Nazir.
Maybe he's a Nazir. Even the Nazir is over the funnel. And what he meant, the pottery commoners of that Nazir that's over the funnel. That's what he meant to say. That means as a person can be mekabel of himself to being the commoners of a Nazir. This we can see a Mishnah. Later on, in the Afidala base, and a person can say, Hare olai legaleach Nazir. What that means? It means to be the commoners of Yed Nazir. Not Dafka, the commoners of the Nazir. Or why? Because the Gemara, we can see later on in the Afidala base, and we see that a person can be mekabel of himself to be commoners of a Nazir, for example. Commoners of a Nazir. So we can explain the Shaila of the Gemara in 3 different ways. So we try to explain the Shaila of the Gemara. First of all, where do we know that this person actually meant the Nazirus Bechlal? Maybe he meant to be Yanis Komonis. Second of all, we can explain the Shaila of the Gemara. There's no Bitus for sign because it's not a Yad. Why is it not a Yad? Because there's no Mashmois in the Lashon Nazirus more than the Komonis. It can mean Komonis, it can mean the thing, right? There's no Mashmois this more than that. The third, also, if you have a Yad, but you don't have a Yad Mechiach over here. And the Lashon of Toises is Vedilme lepoto mikobonoisov hamutolin olov leovi ksheyashlim nezirusoi. I'm reading out from Toises Dimos Vedilme. Vedilme lepoto mikobonoisov hamutolin olov leovi ksheyashlim nezirusoi velo niskaven klal lekabel al atzmoi nezirus. So what's Masha from the Lashon of Toises? Like we said in the beginning, that's what's the Shaila. The Shaila is that we explain the Gemara that when do we know the person meant this deal? Maybe he meant something else in Gamri. Maybe he meant something else. Let's go back to the Gemara. And for the Gemara, the Komar Beliboy. The Komar Beliboy. The person, he said in his heart he wants to be a Nazir. Kabbalah believe doesn't help. It says Kiafli. What is Kiafli? The faith. But because he wanted to say, he meant in his heart that he wants to be a Nazir. And there's a Nazir over the funnel. And he also said that, hey, we made it work. If he meant in his heart to say, you're Nazir, my lemon was a Chiddush. Was a Chiddush, Pasha. The Nazir said, and for the Gemara, I say, Ma'u the Tayman. It is a Chiddush. Why? I might come and think, Mein and Piveli by Shavi. That means I would say that because with the Lashon, he says in his mouth, right? There's no Choche. He meant that, hey. Say that. So there's no dibu. And legabe Nazir, we need a piveli b'shavim. Mashma lo that what now Mishnah that he's a Nazir. Why? Because in a case that is machshove in his heart is megale his mouth, it's going to help. Even though when he says chutz the machshove because it's piveli b'shavim. This is piveli b'shavim. Oh, what is the komash malon over here? What is the komash malon? The komash malon we don't need piveli b'shavim, or it's piveli b'shavim. So this says Piva Libo Shovim. That's the Komash Malon. What's the Komash Malon? The Komash Malon is Piva Libo Shovim. The Komash Malon is that we don't have Piva Libo Shovim. Okay. So we say that it's not going to work with Halal. It's Piva. What's the Komash Malon? How do you understand the Komash Malon? Komash Malon at what? That's considered Piva Libo Shovim. Yeah, that's the Choyer of the Komash Malon. At the beginning. Why in the Gemara? Let's finish with this. We're going to continue over here. This period we'll show you Hashem next week. You can see the Rambam. If maybe it's kidai to see the Rambam. Perek Aleph, Nezirus, Aloche Hey, and Aloche Vov. So Davke, but we try to continue the Gemara until the middle of Gimel Omed Aleph to try to keep up. More Toises in Rosh. But this is a Shaila. The Shaila, the Brisker effect as well. In the beginning of the Gemara says, "Vedilme aho betainis koma." Right? Vedilme aho betainis koma. Why the Gemara doesn't ask? Why the Gemara says, "No, Goma beliboy." The Gemara is asking, right? Dilme aho betainis koma. Say it, Pashat, because Goma beliboy. Says the Brisker Pshat in the Gemara. He says there's two shilas over here. There's two shilas. And the beginning, the Gemara says that this is not a Lashon of Kabbalah Nazirus Bechlal. Why? Because I could say that Aho means Aho Betainis Koma. And this is not going to help that Igmar Beliboy. Because it doesn't become, it's not Bechlal of Kabbalah Nazirus. If he has a Beliboy, it has to be Epis of Kabbalah Nazirus. And then he says Epis of Kabbalah Nazirus. And you have Beliboy, says Pi Beliboy Shovim. If you're going to tell me Aho, And that's why we said no. That there's the Nazir over the phone and it becomes a lotion of Nazirus. And then the Gemara is asking, so it's a shaila with them on the kavane, and that's what's missing in the lotion. So on Nazir over the phone, you have a lotion of Kabbalah Nazirus, but maybe, and that's what the Gemara says over here that the lotion, this lotion is shaya Kabbalah Nazirus. However, in this lotion you could also be mekabel a ptur of a Nazir from the korbanos. And on this we answer no. It does not mean a ptur of korbanos. This means a korban believing. This is beautiful. The way we learn the Gemara, the way the Brisker Rov learns the Gemara, it's such a build-up. It's not two separate shilas. It's one shilah built on a different shilah. And that's the thing. That's the lechoy that we can see. Yeah, we need all three. We need first of all that the whole is Kabbalah Nazirus. The Lashon Nazirus. After we know it's a Lashon Nazirus, now I could add on it. Oh, if it's a Lashon Nazirus, maybe it means I'll leave the Korban Noisav. If it's oil of this Nazir the Bata Korban Noisav, and that's what we say. Liba is going to help the people Liba Shavim. Right. Yeah, Komash Valon. That people Liba Shavim. We still can learn that people Liba Shavim, as we said before. Yes. Right. I go to Shekoyach. Let Hashem.
Ashkach.